Hi, so I thought I would upload another video teaching you or giving you pointers on how to do your bar classes at home, whether they're bar classes with me or maybe with someone else or one of our guest teachers or another studio. I know a lot of us are still taking our bar classes at home. So we don't all have a bar or a bar studio, but there are a few things that you will need for most classes. So you want to have a fairly decent, just some technology things. You want to make sure you have a pretty decent internet connection, either really good Wi-Fi. I actually am plugged right into with an Ethernet cord so that I don't lose you guys. Most of us use Zoom, so you want to have a Zoom account. They're free unless you're going to be putting out content. Most of you can get away with a free Zoom account. If you want, you can have speakers, whether it's on your laptop or on your tablet or your phone. Usually the bigger the screen, the better when you're taking class, because then you can see your instructor. Another Zoom technology etiquette and a little tip, a couple tips. Go ahead and show yourself. That way your instructor can give you adjustments, root you on a little bit more. If we can see your face, if we can see what you're doing, we can add more tailored adjustments and challenges, modifications if we can see you. So that's really cool. Also, plus we just like seeing your faces before and after class. Try to show up maybe 5 minutes early for class. Usually check the volume. You want to have your speakers on pretty loud so you can hear us and hear the music. But then once class starts, then you'll mute yourself. You'll mute your microphone. You'll still hear your speakers. So that's another thing. Once class has started, I will usually mute everyone. But always feel free to mute yourself if you need to. If there's a lot going on behind you before and after class. Also, if you would like the instructor's screen to be big, I usually spotlight my video, which will make my square the biggest square that you'll see so that you can see me. Another thing you can do is pin the instructor's video, and there's a few little dots, 3 dots on the upper right-hand corner, and you can click on that and you'll get the option. There'll be a few options, and one of them will say pin video. You want to pin that video. Unless you want to watch someone else, you could pin your own video, pin someone else's video if you want to watch someone other than the instructor, and if I don't have my spotlight on, which would make my screen bigger. So there's a few technological issues for you. Also check for us, for our classes, Ulartes at the Bog, you want to make sure that you check before class, especially if you're having problems logging on. Sometimes Zoom and PunchPass don't speak to each other, and we have a new passcode. So you want to make sure you always have the most recent passcode. I try not to change them too often, but if people start barging in who haven't signed up or paid for classes, then we'll change the passcode. So always make sure you're checking, and that will get sent usually by email. From PunchPass, you'll get an email and it will let you know what the passcode is. The one that's automatically generated from PunchPass usually isn't correct. It will be one, and the subject line will be very specific. So equipment, now that we have our technology equipment taken care of. Equipment for class. For most bar classes, you'll need weights. I recommend 1 to 3 pound weights. If you're a gentleman, you might want to go as high as 5 pounds, even 8 pounds, but we do so many reps. We want to really keep it low. Your form will start to change if the weights are too heavy. Your form won't be as accurate, and really form is so important in a bar class, right? So keep the weights pretty low. A lot of times I'm using my 1 pound weights. Also, And if you need to purchase weights, a great place to purchase them is at like not the dollar store, but Ocean State Job Lot. If you're in New England, I know Walmart has them, and sometimes Amazon has them on sale. We also like the squishy balls in a standard American bar class, your Larti's bar. I like to get, there are these squishy balls, they come in blue and they come in black, and they're at yogadirect.com, but sometimes you can also find them on Amazon, fairly reasonable price. So I'm showing you a chair for a bar. It's a little bit low. You want to have something, usually counter height is a really good height for most people. You want to have hip to waist height. So this top bar is starting to even get a little bit on the high side. So this is kind of a good range where I have my bar. So something that's usually around 36 inches high, 36 to 39. If you have a booty kicker, and there's a link to my to where you can purchase it through me, and you get $20 off, and you get a squishy ball called a bender ball. It's kind of a green squishy ball. So you can purchase one of those. I believe that's like 37 inches high. So somewhere around there, if you don't want to get a booty kicker or if you don't have a bar, and that's standard American kitchen counter height. It's about 36, 37, 38 inches. If not, a sturdy chair will work. This is, like I said, a little bit low, but you can still do things here with this chair. If you're taking Yolartes Express, we usually don't use any equipment. If we are using a support, I usually just use a dowel. So you can use, you can pick yourself up a dowel at a hardware store, or you can use a broom and just hold on to it. Or you can take that opportunity to challenge your core and your balance. Or if you're taking legacy bar, some equipment for a legacy bar, you'll need what is ideal is a super, super, super solid, steady bar. Ideally, one that is attached to the wall, only a couple inches between the bar and the wall. So we do have that here. I can start to demonstrate some classes for you at that bar, but because I understand most of us are at home and we don't have that, I want to go through what you can use if you're taking the legacy bar at home. Legacy bar is the original Lottie Burke technique. We call it legacy bar here because we're carrying on the legacy of Lottie Burke and her daughter, Esther Fairfax, who has approved my class. So I usually use this bar. That comes in handy for doing our kneeling work and our standing thigh work, which is also in an American bar class. And then for our under the bar, feet under the bar work, this works pretty well still. We don't do any escapes or no escapes under this bar. We just use the mat. If you need to, you can also use the chair for the feet under bar and just turn it around and just have your feet up on the seat of the chair. So those are some of your options for legacy bar. Sorry, also back to weights. If you don't want to invest in weights, some alternatives could be water bottles, soup cans. I find those to be a little bit big. If you have small hands, kind of can't wrap your hands around them, but soup cans will work. Wine bottles. An empty wine bottle is around 1 pound. A full wine bottle is about 3 pounds, so that's an option. Today I took a class, they suggested olive oil bottles. So, and those might be easier to handle because they're a little bit more narrow if you have small hands. So those are some options for weights, and you can always just use no weights, or you can use, and I have a couple of them, like just weights that you put around your wrists. So they come in like ½ pound up to £1.5 pounds per side. So that's another thing you can use, and then you don't have to worry about holding on to anything. So those are options for weights. For a squishy ball, if you don't have a squishy ball, you could use a pillow, and you can see I've got pillows and yoga blocks. So you can also use a pillow or a yoga block, and that might be an option for you if you don't have a squishy ball. Other options are just to not use any equipment. The original Lottie Burke technique uses no equipment except for the bar. So you can use no equipment except for the bar, counter, chair. Also, you want to make sure you have either a soft spot on the floor. In the original Lottie Burke technique, that's just done on carpeting, so there's no yoga mats. Everything's just on the carpeting. Up here, and many of our homes, especially if you're taking class in the kitchen with the kitchen counter, you want to have a yoga mat. I like the thicker yoga mats. Those can be found depending on where you are. Marshall's has great prices on really thick ones. Also, Amazon, if you want to go that way. So something to be cushioned for when you are on the floor. I think that covers it. Also, any requests for music, we try to have music that everyone likes. It's mostly going to be music that I like. I'm pretty middle of the road. We try not to go too crazy with music, but if you have requests, I will always take requests for music. I will take requests for class times and what kind of class content. I will not take a request if you say no C-curve or no escapes. But if you want a class maybe once in a while that is specific to abdominals and is more concentrated on abdominals, I'll do that. If you'd like some content for the content library, our video on demand through PunchPass, let me know. I could tape a class where I'm just teaching to the screen, and I could teach a Balarobica or a ballet, Pilates, yoga class, something that maybe isn't on the schedule. And if you'd like me to bring something onto the schedule at a new time or take over a class slot, then let me know. We can always swap out or do a pop-up class. So I definitely am here this is your class, it's not my class. It's your class, so if there's anything that you want, let me know. And that's it. I hope to see you on Zoom soon.